So there's two Jonos here on the line, so I'm going to try the first one.
I sent the request myself.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Thanks. All right. Is everybody seeing his screen in a few minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, we're just going to go straight into how you guys would track progress.
So what I'd like is that we're looking at just for today the features of Hubbli that a teacher would use. So so for Mary Olive and Sylvia, I'm sorry, Donna and Pat, just excuse me for one moment, I didn't get a chance to talk to them together. This isn't made just for Montessori schools like MRX is, but there are many Montessori schools that use it. So what the features for today, I was just hoping we could go through how to track progress in lessons, the attendance, and how a teacher can communicate with parents and some of the teacher features, essentially.
Okay, great. So I'm currently in a group, and we'll start here because this is actually a place where teachers, in Hubbli communicate with parents on a daily basis. This is actually one of the core features. I know that you've seen these features, but this is really essential to the product, really essential to teachers as well. So generally speaking, every class or room has its own group. And this is very much like a Facebook group. And in this group, you've got the ability to create and share documents, create events, and create newsletters, share media, and also share digital forms. So this is, again, these features generally, they work across the whole school. So Hubbli organizes things by school-wide, and then group-specific, and then child-specific. So those are the three sort of tiers. And so as a teacher, you would have a group, and you'd be the admin just of this group, or could be multiple groups as well. And let's say you just wanted to send an update to a parent, you would go in here. Let's say I'm currently logged in as Pat, so I logged in as Pat's account. But I could just say something like, hi everyone. This is something I saw recently. I'll just say we found a case of life in the class. Just letting you know. So this is going to go out now. If I post this, this is now going to be sent out to all the parents of that class. So it's here in the feed, but it also gets sent out to their email, and it can also, if I click this, it would have went out to their text message, their phone as well, as a text message. So, and then also you see statistics as to who actually opened and clicked on these or replied to these messages as well. So really good information for a teacher to know who actually read the message, or who engaged the message. You could have various, it could be a picture or it could be a link to something. So let's say you share a link to an interesting article or to an important document that, you can actually track who clicked on it too. And that can be really helpful information on a moment-to-moment basis. So you don't have to chase people around wondering if they saw it or read it. You actually know. And you can actually see, I'm going to click on who opened this, and I can see these guys all read this message. They opened it up, in their email system of choice. So they didn't have to log in to read it. They just, they got their email and they read it. Pardon me. And then again, if you want to send a newsletter, you can actually, like, those are really good for sort of in the moment, quick reminders, little bite-sized bits of information, or if you make an event, it'll share it with them. But as well, Do you guys want me to hold on for a second? It just sounds like there's
Yes, that's fine. I was gonna say, Jonah, your audio is a little bit. I don't know, Mary Olive. Maybe it's our connection. It's sounding just a little bit muffled.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And delayed.
Let me see if I can do something about that. I can certainly do something to fix that.
Okay.
Okay. I'll just put you on hold for 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Hi there, everyone. It's Pat here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I am hearing some noise in the background, too, from your side. I don't know if somebody's doing something. It might be helpful to mute that line.
No, not on.
I'm on the phone. Yeah, I'm on the phone, but I have my headphones in, so you shouldn't be hearing anything from me.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can just mute. If you mute your voice, you can still hear while they talk.
Okay. All right. Let's figure that out. Like mute my microphone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do the same.
I do the same just because I work from home, and sometimes my dog decides to be a little vocal, so it helps.
Yeah, I understand.
Hi, everybody. It's Jono. Is this better?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you.
Okay, great. And just in general, it sounds like you're doing it, but it's helpful if anybody else on the call mutes themselves while I'm talking, because then that'll just help with background noise as well. But definitely pop in. If you have any questions, stop me at any point in time. I'm here to answer questions. So here we are in the newsletters, and this is what you'll see. You could, this is just like a history of newsletters. You see the statistics of who was sent to, opened, and clicked or whatnot. But the actual parents also get to come here and view any previous newsletters. So it's like it's a nice sort of archive of any historical newsletter that was sent to this specific group. The school admin has the ability to send newsletters to the whole school or a number of groups at one time. But as a teacher specifically, you generally would have you would send it to one group at a time. Usually, a teacher has maybe one or two groups that they actually are an admin of. But if you want to send a newsletter, you just click create a newsletter. And this is great for a weekly or a monthly newsletter that you want to be a little bit more sort of, beautiful and, designed. So we give you some templates to start with. And I'll just click on this one to activate that template. And probably my internet's a little bit slow here. So that comes up, and then you can really make it your own. I'll do a little customizing. I'm going to remove the background image, and I'm going to change the colors. I'm going to make the background color blue. So you can do this with all the different templates, and then you can keep on sending. Once you kind of design your template, you can just keep on cloning it, so you don't have to do this over again every time. And if you want to, you can make it, so let's say test teacher newsletter, and I'll just copy that, put that into the title. And then you can, it's just a nice WYSIWYG, editor, same type of formatting options you would have on Google Docs or Word. You can add media in there. You can either upload something new, or you can, just grab a picture. Let's grab a picture of my cute daughter. So you throw a picture in there, and then you can send this out to everybody. You can add any content you want, and you can actually test what it'll look like on different devices as well. So it's really handy that way. And you can save it, you can send a test to yourself. You can also schedule it to go later. So you can actually schedule this to go out on a Friday. So you can work on this any day you want and schedule it to go out on a Friday, which we see a lot with our schools. At a specific time, you can select the date and the time, so you want to send it at say 5 p.m. on a Friday, right? And just click schedule. So really easy to create nice engaging content for the parents. So you can obviously add a whole gallery or a whole bunch of pictures of a recent field trip, anything like that's really awesome. You can also share that stuff inside of, I'll just go ahead and save this. You can send these types of, you can pull out your phone. Let's say you're on a field trip and you want to snap a bunch of pictures to share with the parents. You can do that as well, just inside the group with the standard group feed. But the newsletter gives you a little bit of added, you know, um, design and touch to it, which is better for more long form communication, as opposed to the groups are great for like in the moment. Oh, I just remember I should remind my parents about something. So you just pull out your phone on any device. This works on any device. So if I squeeze this down, let me move this stuff out of the way. So if I squeeze this down, it turns into a mobile. This is what it looks like on a mobile display. It becomes a mobile app. So the same thing here. You could actually select if you're on your phone and you're out on a field trip, you open this up and you can click this button. It'll actually trigger your camera, so you can just take pictures of what's going on in the field trip and share them instantly with all the parents. It's really really a great high engagement piece. And another really helpful thing about this too is let me just scroll down to another example. Hey, so like um, so if parents want to like ask a question, um, instead of like creating these like sort of messy reply all email threads, or you having to answer questions, like you send out a message and, you know, to 20 parents and, 5 of them or 10 of them ask the same question over and over again, and you're answering the question over and over again. This type of communication makes things much more efficient because if you allow them, all these different communication features you can turn on or off. You don't have to let them have the ability to post comments or replies, but if you do, it can really make things easier because if one parent asks a question and then you go in here and answer it, so that thread is there, so everybody can actually see the answer. So those 5 or 10 other parents that had the same question see the answer, and you only had to do it once. So things like that really save you. Our whole goal for teachers is to allow you to, manage your communications with a lot less time and much more ease and less hassle. Because what we find, as we've surveyed, thousands of people that work at schools, teachers and school staff are spending on average 40 hours a month just managing communication tools, not thinking of what to say, not having, great face-to-face conversations or thinking about like how to respond to different, like just managing the actual tools, the technology, whether it's paper or, emails or text messages or Facebook or every teacher seems to have their own little patchwork of communication tools that they like to use. But on the parent side, that also creates a problem. You get much lower parent engagement because it's very frustrating for the parents because, information is coming from all these different places, and you don't know if they got it or not if you're not tracking it. So instead of trying to become like a digital communication expert, you can just remain on being an education expert and being a great teacher and thinking about the content rather than the how and the means to communicate. And that's our goal with Hubbli. So that's like some communication basics. Every group also has events, so you can create schedules for the class, and the parents can subscribe to them or come and see them. And these can just be announcements, or they can be really full featured events like Eventbrite or whatnot. And then these synchronize with the whole school calendar up here. so that things could be managed centrally or by group, and it all synchronizes seamlessly. Those are the groups. That's like, we've got, millions literally of like parent messages flying through our system because this stuff makes communication easy, and parents, parents get the type of communication experience they're yearning for, and teachers and staff have a much easier time managing communication with one system, one database that doesn't, you don't have to manage all these different communication lists and tools and manually, with like all these different redundancies in your life. Um, Now, the next thing you want to see is our form. So you were talking about like how to share, let's say a progress report, or any type of documentation the teacher actually tracks for a student. So I'll show a couple of things. Is there a question by any before I move on?
Before you move on, so the email and the text messaging, the parents, that goes to whatever email account and whatever cell phone we put in. That's not, like, they don't have to log in to see that, right?
Yeah, that's one of the key elements of our system that we've learned is that for a parent communication system to work so that you don't have to send repetitive messages, or or to help ensure that the highest engagement of the communication happens, one of the most important factors is that parents do not have to log in. That is so key, right? So like everything comes to their current, communication play, which is email. Email is the most important thing. We're never going to get away from it. Every other communication tool, Facebook, Twitter, Slack, SurveyMonkey, like all these different things, all the backbone of the communication system of all of those different communication apps is email. Notifications and messages always have to come to the user's email. So just that's the same thing with Hubbli, except we centralize all those different types of things. So you've got one list of contacts, right, of parents and staff and guardians or whatnot, extended families or prospective families, and everybody has a user profile, and that profile is connected to an email, and can or cannot be connected to a mobile phone. That's, we leave that up to the school or the parents to decide. And then those pardon me.
Great. No, you totally answered my question.
Right.
And then I was going to ask if we could see the attendance form, and then what were there, or at least start on attendance, right?
Yep. So our digital forms features handles any type of information that has to be entered either by parents or teachers. So there's parent forms and then there's teacher forms, right? So the kind of the standard way of tracking attendance is with paper today. Like, teachers have a piece of paper, they track attendance, and then they hand it to the office or whatnot. That is still the standard. Not all schools do that. Some schools have progressed, but that is still the standard. So our digital forms, make anything that you track on paper much easier and trackable with our digital forms. And there's automated notifications that are tied to those forms. And so I'm going to show you an example of an attendance form, but I want to stress that this is just an example. The way we've built this is so that it is flexible to handle any scenario. So there's a lot of different forms in here. And what I'm going to show you is the attendance form first. So if I click on that, I'm going to open it up over here. So first of all, as a teacher, right, you would go in and you would select the student or the students that you are, entering. This is currently an attendance form, but this student selector works for any form that you add it to, okay? The date is automatically populated. The truth is that doesn't even need to be there. Nothing here needs to be there really, because every time a form is submitted, it's automatically date and time stamped. So if you're taking attendance, you can just go in here, select the children, and even just say present or absent or tardy or whatnot. Again, you could add 5 more options to this, totally flexible. However you guys want to track attendance, whatever pieces of information you want to gather on your attendance form, they can be added into here. We have a really simple drag and drop form creator. And but I'm not even going to bother showing that to you right now because it's not important, because I'll tell you why. Because when a school signs up with us, we actually make all your forms for you. You just send us all your current paperwork, your processes, your forms, your documentation systems, and we'll actually go ahead and make them digital. Now, you always have the ability, and we'll teach you how to go in there and make the forms and change them. It's really easy to do, but as a service, we do it for you, and we will always do it for you. So you actually never even have to bother with it yourself. Just, I want to make sure that's clear. Um, but let's say you wanted to track attendance for the day before for whatever reason, like you made a mistake with one. Let's say you're just going to do it for one of the students, like Leo or Landon. Okay. Oh, yesterday I marked her present, but you know what, I have to go, or I forgot to do her attendance yesterday, whatever it is, and I'm going to mark her absent. And then you can leave notes here. Again, this is just one field of any fields that you want to add a note section, and you want to add a picture. You could have you could take a picture and add it to this form as well. Anything you want to do, but obviously attendance form is pretty basic. Now down here, there's notification settings. So these are the parents. So what happens is, depending on the child you select, these notifications can be turned. So every form has its own notification settings. You can turn notifications on or off. You could say always send to all the parents, or you can also just decide to remove parents. So there's 3 different ways of managing the notifications: always on, always off, or you can set it, at the time of submitting the form. And then you click submit. So what happens now is that information, there's a couple places that information goes, and this is the same thing with all forms. In the dashboard, in the admin side, there's one central database of all form submissions. All that data goes in there, and it can be, you can look up any bit. It can be exported, it can be queried, it can be sorted, but it's all digital. It's all organized in a easy to understand sort of spreadsheet like fashion. But it also goes to the individual student pages. So if I go to the students page here and I go to Leora Landon, this is the child I just did the attendance record for, and it shows up right here. And so, sorry, there we go. My internet's a little sluggish here. So these are all the different attendance records for this particular child. So this is kind of like, this is a private page shared with the teachers and the parents of this child. And this is like a digital filing cabinet, basically, of all the different, records either entered either by parents or by teachers. And you can preview the entries, you can edit the entries. Let's say you made a mistake, you go here and edit it. And I also want to say, I actually skipped a step. One of the things I want to show you is, if I go back to the forms page, on any of these forms, you can actually view the entries right here. You don't have to go to that student's page. So you, as the teacher, you could just go back to the attendance form button and click on view entries, and any attendance records you've entered will show up here, filtered by you. So this automatically filters to the user that's logged in. So if you're the admin, you're going to see everybody's, and you can query, you can do a search, or you can click any of these to sort and organize them, and you can also copy or export them into a spreadsheet if you need to, print them off. But the teacher was only going to see the submissions that the teacher set, and that's all by default. But I'll also say, and this is more for the admin purposes, any of these defaults can be changed, meaning you can decide for any particular form, either this type of user, whether it's a teacher or a staff member or a parent, or a particular user. Maybe you have a teacher that manages, certain things on the admin side. They can have permissions to see everybody's, all the students' records, that type of thing, if it's appropriate. So you can come here as a teacher on a sort of standard thing and just see, this is all my attendance form records right here for all my students. and then they could be organized by by class or by student. You just have to you could do a search, or you can and so this view can also be changed, meaning you could have entry date. You could move students over here. It can be customized to your liking, but this is in the standard sort of thing. And if you want to see any particular entry, you can see the entry here. There's all the information entered on that particular date. You can also edit it. You just click on that and edit it as well. So it just pops up and has editing abilities. Is that making things clear? Are there any questions about this at this point?
Oops, sorry. None on our end.
Okay, cool. And just another example, I'll go back to the forms page. If we take a look at another type of teacher documentation, let me try a scope and sequence. There we go. So if I go to a scope and sequence, this is, again, just an example. This is like a basic scope and sequence that you'll see at a lot of Montessori schools. Again, you can select the student that this is for and the date, if you want to have a date selector. You could select different areas of skills, mark the different, mastery levels. We selected my daughter, so I'm just going to make them all mastered because she's a genius. And leave comments, and then there's different settings for the form. This is the type of form you might want to complete later, so you can just hit not complete, and then you'll be able to go back and continue to finish that form. But you always have the ability to go back and edit anything. So you can, if the school wants you to have the ability to edit any particular entry of any kind of form, you can always have those permissions. And generally, by default, if you entered it, you have the ability to edit it. This also goes for parent forms. So like their emergency contact records, parents can go to their child's page and update their medical information and their emergency contact records. It's kind of like going to a piece of paper that you've entered into the school or handed to the school and erasing it and updating the phone number without having to bother the school staff. So it's that type of like efficiency we're trying to create. So less like school communication efficiency comes down to it's death by 1,000 cuts, right? So like there's like 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there, all throughout the day that we're taking care of. We're automating and making things just work so that you don't have to think about them or worry about them or wonder if somebody read it. You send it one time, and that's all you have to do, and you've got one place to do it and one contact list to maintain. And that will reduce people's communication administrative workload across the board. That's our goal. So and so this is just we actually have some really much more sort of advanced curriculum type thing. Like we have scope and sequence. Like we have schools that have like Common Core aligned, like Montessori chartered schools doing like a much more in-depth curriculum just because it has to be Common Core aligned. So like there's way more options in here, but our system handles all of those things.
And when you say that you have those schools that have them that are Common Core aligned, is that when they gave you the list of lessons, they told you which lessons align to the Common Core, or is that already aligned, or is that something that you have, as an example that we would be able to build off of?
We do have an example you'd be able to build off of, but it is at this point it's more like MRX as opposed to like Montessori Compass, where Montessori Compass has their own sort of exclusive Common Core aligned curriculum, and that's like their thing.
I got you. So like this one, I see that you have some of the basic lesson names,
yeah.
And then if we, I guess, how would we be able to or if you have an example, would you mind, for my purposes, showing me what the Common Core aligned one looks like?
Well, I don't think I have an example on this demo here.
Okay.
And it's like it's on a customer site, so I wouldn't be able to show that to you. But I could, but we have like a version. I don't have it to like show to you at like today.
No,
but it would,
and then we had another question. Sylvia had a question on
well,
this.
So I'm looking at this, and you have the different sections, and we would give you the sections that we would want. Does it have to be coordination, caring, sensorial, or can we?
Whatever you want. it's customized to your whatever.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this is just an example. Everything I'm showing you, just an example, and you can just send us your current, documentation process, like that,
Mhm.
like with your current standards and everything, and we will make it for you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. You don't have to, you don't have to input it or anything. We'll set it all up for you.
Okay.
And then if
Mary,
you need to, go ahead.
oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
Well, I was done. I was just saying, like, you don't have to worry about, even updating it. You can just send that to us, and we'll always keep it up to date if you have any changes. These things don't change too often, but if you ever need a change, we're here as a done for you service. So.
Okay. Mary Olive, did you have any questions? You might have to unmute your mic.
No, I don't have any questions right now. So.
Anything you wanted to see?
Nope. He showed me what I wanted to see. It was the scope and so.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
And we can change these too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we can just.
We provide the form. This is it's
Right. Got it.
So we provide the language, what it would say.
Is that right, Jenna? We give you everything, right? Is he there?
Yeah.
Like,
You
where
give us everything. Yeah.
having difficulty practicing mastered, we would say these are the terms we'd like there. Correct or no? I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was a question. So yeah, you can either use this one. I mean, we're happy to just upload it for you, and you can, or you can base it off that, and we can make changes to it, or you can just send us whatever you have, and we will input it in there according to your organization, your language, everything. It's all done by our team. We build it for you.
Don't create it the way
Yeah.
we want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, and I would say that's one of the big differences between us and other providers is that we do it for you and want to do it custom, and we don't think that there's sort of one size fits all. So it's we want you to be able to do everything the way your school does it. I mean, most schools are fairly similar, the way they're structured, and but especially when you get into curriculum, that's where the differences really come into play. And as far as like the culture or the style of one school to another, it's really it's as flexible as. So yeah, where is there anything else that would help as far as demo information like on the school side?
I'd be
on the teacher side.
To see so this is how they would enter all the information, but if they were to generate a report of all the lessons they've given, what would that look like for the students? So if they were looking at a student's progress, like to date, what would that look like?
So that would all be found on the student page. It's also in the main admin database, but to see it per student, you would see all the submissions of that report here of their progress would be all here on that student page. So we have a bunch of different types of like documentations, like obviously different age levels. You have diapering logs and snack logs.
Do you mind going up a little bit? Sorry.
Sorry?
Back up to the top. Or your daughter is really cute, by the way.
Thanks.
Just below attendance form, like I was trying to, it went by really quickly. I was just sort of seeing.
Yeah,
I saw
I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, it's
that's
okay.
why we try to do our demos with slides because there's no good web conference that isn't. Really
No, I totally understand. I used to work with the IT department at Ohio State, so this is great. Don't worry.
I'll try to go more slowly when I move, but these are just a bunch of examples, you know. So these are the attendance form records for this child. And so basically any form that's been entered by parents or the student or the teachers about a child all show up here like a digital filing cabinet about this student. So we've just got a bunch of examples that you know you might use, may or may not use, or want to use. They don't have to show up here. It's just all, you know, we're just trying to show various examples. You know.
No, this helps. And then if you needed to see by the whole class, how would that?
Yeah, so that's where that would be done either in the admin dashboard or by the on the main forms page here, where you would go into the like all entries. So instead of let me just see, go up to application attendance form. So this is where you could sort it by, you know, by the teacher or the class and do a filter.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then you could export that. So there's, as far as like exporting and managing the information, it's easy. It's more easily done in the dashboard for getting more sort of nitty gritty, or you know.
Okay, can I ask you a question? I would like to see the lesson plans, and I'd also like to understand. So we would set it up in terms of what lessons we're giving, and we enter it. We can enter it at the time we're giving the lesson. Is that organized? Is it organized? Is it user friendly that way, or do we have to wait, like say the end of class, or can you?
You can enter the information at any point in time, and you can have it organized. So like your lesson plan or your rubric is into the form.
Okay, would you mind showing on the lesson plan form that you have?
Right, so if I go to the, scroll back here. So like as an example, scope and sequence. So what we do is we enter it into the context of where you're at with that, you know, level. So it's not, so actually, this isn't actually built into this form right now. But what we would do is, here is where you'd be able to reference the actual like lessons or examples. So that we would put your lesson plans into here, like for each different, like in context.
Okay.
Coordination. Is that making sense? Like
that makes sense. Yeah, so you would have like a radial, or you would have like a radial button or something that says elementary movements, and then an area, like a text field where you could type in, or something.
Well, yeah, so you could enter it in. But like, how can I ask? How often do your lessons plans change from, like, I'm assuming they're more or less set.
Yeah, that's a good.
What I was looking for is a place that if I wanted to give group lessons and I give individual lessons. So I needed to know if I decide that tomorrow I want to give a child a lesson on a particular activity, because I don't give lessons. I need to know where would I place that. How do I set that up?
Okay,
I mean, right now I write it down on a piece of paper. I mean, I put it in MRX, but I usually just write it down.
Are you saying like you're planning to give them?
I'm planning to give them a lesson, but I haven't given them that lesson yet, because you only have here, or at least what I'm seeing, is having difficulty practicing and mastered. Is there a place where you can put it?
That you're planning to give them a lesson?
What a lesson plan is. That I'm planning, that I've observed today, and I see they need a lesson on, I don't know.
Or are you saying like I have have these 3 children, and I'm going to pull them in a group lesson for moving chairs.
I don't do group
lessons. No, I know, but I'm saying.
Yes. I have a child that I want to give a lesson to on handwriting, for example.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know, where would I put this in this program? I mean, is there a place that you could organize your lessons for the week? Like on Saturday night or Sunday morning, I sit down and organize my lessons for the week to see what lessons I've given, to go over my.
Yeah, I understand. And so, like, there's different ways of approaching this in our system, and so we try to keep things as again, as flexible to the individual or the school as possible, rather than forcing you into a particular process. But there's, again, whatever you do on paper, you can do digitally inside Hubbli. So as an example, I'll give you a few different places you could do this. You could, in your group for your class or your room, right? You have the ability to, you've got like, documents. You've got this documents feature here is essentially the same as, Microsoft Word or Google Docs, but it lives here inside your group and it's your document. So if I was to go in here, this could be a place where you could, just, say, it could be titled, either a lesson plan for a particular child or a group of children, however you want to title it. It's just whatever you would do on paper. Can you give me an example of what you might do on paper?
For example, I might give I have a child's name, and I realize that the child is ready to move on. Let's say, for example, a child is writing, is now ready to write on paper. Been writing on a chalkboard, et cetera. So now tomorrow, I want to give them, to remind myself that I have to give them a lesson on writing on paper, et cetera, so I can plan that lesson for this week.
Okay, so like Bobby is ready. Does that make sense as the title? Like, is that?
Yeah.
Simple?
Yeah, but that would be. But I would want it somehow the other. I have it in a form that I can look at the whole thing at one time.
Right. You can see the whole.
I can see
week.
The whole week.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, so just like it's like a form. So what we could do. So this is where you could kind of do whatever you do on paper and like write notes, so yada yada. And I'll just format or give it a title like the lesson, and so like have him start with the alpha. I don't know if this makes any sense at all, but like step 1, and then step 2, step 3. Like, it's just simple formatting, word processor, right? And then you can even you can attach files to this if you have examples, or if you have a lesson that you want to upload. Again, and then this can be shared with the whole group, or just you, or any particular parents. You can just share this stuff specifically with people.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt for a second? I think what she's asking, is there like a calendar interface that you have where you can see for the week the lessons you plan to give the children? Because I know that's definitely what I'm looking for. Like, do you have a calendar where I can look at the day and be like, oh, okay, today X, Y, and Z? Because I do group lessons. Most of my children do not have individual lessons.
Sure.
So if I just want to come in the morning and have a quick refresh of the lessons that I'm giving and who I'm giving them to after I've planned that Sunday for the entire week, is there some way to do that and have that on a calendar so I can come, click on the day of the week, and see all of the lessons that I'm giving and all of the children that I'm giving those different lessons to?
So that specific feature is about to be launched. We don't have it, like, where you can do lesson planning on, like, by a calendar date. What you can do today is have it in a list view, organized by date. So if we made a form, right, which is like teacher lesson planning form, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to like whip this up, because we don't have an example of this, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. Okay, so I'm going to go into the dashboard here. It's on the admit side. I'm going to make a new form. So let's call this lesson planning form. So the first thing I'm going to add here is the student field. So now, I'm going to say student. So this is that student selector. So any teacher, you'll be able to come and select your students. It'll filter and just show you the students that you teach or connected to. Then what we can do is say date. Add a date field. So when you organize it by date, it's like this is the date that you want to give the lesson on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So great. So now that's there. So and you can, let's just keep this simple for now, but this could get much more advanced with like drop-down options. So you can, I'm not sure what different things you could do here, but real basic stuff could just be just a text field, like a paragraph, like a standard field, like, a paragraph. But you could add drop-downs and numbers and checkboxes, all these different types of fields. So you can, anything that you can do here. And there's also like, we can add automation steps and automated notifications and things like that, which could also be helpful. And I'll just say, I guess this would be lesson details, just as a, so here's just like a basic form right now, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this. And this will automatically show up on that forms page now. So we'll go back there, go back to forms. Let's find lesson, there we go. Lesson, oh, that's funny, there already was one there. Lesson planning form. So now I'm going to go say, lesson is for this child, or it could be for multiple children. I could select other children, right? Marty McFly, Harry Potter, okay? And the date for the lesson is going to happen on Thursday. And here's the details. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and if you want, this could be, again, you could have an attachment field where you attach other resources, anything that you want to have here, pictures, resources, anything. It's just a field selector when we make the form. We can add that in any day we want. I'm going to go ahead and submit this, and I'm going to go back, and I didn't set up like what happens after you submit it. It could just go back to that form. And I'm going to select another one for just Leora. Date of the lesson will be Friday. And blah, 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 blah. So now if I go back to the forms page, and I look at the entries, I've got my entries here. So this can be organized by date. So it's not a calendar view, but it's a list view of dates, or date for lesson. So you could sort, but you could just click on the heading to sort, and you could take a look at it, see what all the details are. You could print this off, or you could even update the entry and say, well, I'm going to actually change this a little bit. And I'm going to say, not blah, 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 but blah, 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 and then update it. And it's updated. And if I want to, I can search lessons by child. So now it just filters for all of my lesson planning for the child. So this is how we approach it today. But we have a calendar view for the whole group, right? So not for lessons for a particular child, but for the whole group, like what's going on for this class or this room, right? Then we also have a calendar for the whole school. We also have an appointments calendar, like if it's time for parent-teacher conferences, parents can come in here and select their room, and this is all set up to automatically schedule, you according to the sessions that you're offering, and then parents can select it themselves, and they get reminders, and they get, confirmations and all that stuff. So, it's all automated. So we've got that calendar feature. But the actual like lesson planning calendar as a calendar, like this type of like, interface is coming quite soon, and it probably will be there before the school year starts. But I don't have it to show you today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Would that be helpful though with the lesson planning? Like if you were to go in there and just click on view entries and see, it's kind of basically like opening up a binder, and seeing all of the entries for you that you've entered. So it'd be filtered to just you and your students. Would that be faster and easier than your current process?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know.
I don't know. I have to.
I think that it depends on how that form is built, like the putting in that stuff, but we would need to make sure that it all ties back to, like the scope and planning stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, even on that form, there could be, a link to the scope and sequence, so we can connect forms to each other as well.
Oh, okay.
That's a little bit trickier. I can't just do that right now real quickly, but we can have it so that it connects to the other form.
And okay, yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty good. I got a good idea of what's going on.
Okay. Let's see. Other things you wanted to see? Other things that you think that you do that?
No, it's the lesson planning and also giving the lesson and making sure that we have it. But that's something we'd have to put that all.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have lessons that you want to be pre-populated, like standard lessons that you give as options for that lesson planning form, we could enter that in for you so that it's a drop down.
Okay.
Okay.
And that could all be tied into the same scope and sequence. If you want it to be in context, like you go and you select like lesson, and then so they can be different forms or they could actually be the same form.
I think that's what we were, when that's really, it's not just the scope and sequence of tracking, it's making sure that the planning and the tracking are tied together.
Yeah.
That's critical for us. Okay. Mary Olive, do you have other areas that you wanted to see? Or things that you use or do today, either on paper or otherwise?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Essentially, we will. So the way it works when a school onboards with us is that you just dump all this information on us, meaning send us your scope and sequence, your lesson plans, all that stuff, and we'll upload all that content into the form so that it can be tap, so you don't have to, you can just select a lesson, add, and then enter in the level of mastery or whatever your criteria is for tracking progress. And then, there's also, 4 weeks of training that you go through like one-on-one with our team. So while we enter all that information and set it all up for you, we're also showing you how the system works and showing you how to actually make changes yourself. And then ongoing, you can either make changes yourself. We have like we're set up to be a service for the lowest common denominator in regards to like tech savviness, meaning if it needs to be, it'll be completely done for you ongoing. Or we also show you, because the system is, for somebody that's like a little bit, comfortable with like, if you're comfortable with like Microsoft Excel or Word or things like that, you have enough skill to use our system,
Right.
but and so we show you how to use it as well. So we have the full spectrum of customers. We've got a 70-year-old lady that owns and operates a Montessori school and like is not going to learn a system, but she wanted Hubbli, and so it works for her. And we've got 25-year-old office assistants that don't need they figured everything out before their first lesson. You know what I mean? It's just like you know so we're there for you for any place you're at.
Okay. Thank you. Um, yeah, I think that's, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think if there were any, yeah, there's no other questions. Yeah, I think there's no other questions from me. Mary Olive, how about you?
No, I don't have any questions. No.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay,
you
great.
so much.
You're very welcome. And what's your guys' timeline for getting on board and getting all set up?
Well, I need to make a decision this week whether or not we stay with MRX or not. And so yeah, so I'd be making a decision this week. But then for getting it set up, I think that is that's a little bit flexible based off of the time what we'd have to do to prepare. So
Great. So yeah. So in regards to can I ask why are you looking for another system? Like why not stay with MRX?
So I was drawn to the moving our forms completely online and our payment and the invoicing. So I was drawn to this when I saw that you could do both, that Montessori schools were using this for tracking lessons and lesson planning, but also I was drawn to it from the administrative and communication features, which would which would greatly simplify our communications and our administrative overhead that are currently happening, and there's a lot of inefficiency there, so that's an enormous savings for the school and better use of resources. So that's why I was drawn to this, which is not available in MRX. So I do really like the forms and everything that works. MRX, we were able to every system that we use is going to be based, how well it goes is based off of how much we invest in really making sure we set it up correctly, and that we're modifying it and using it, and we're understanding the features and limitations of the system. So I think that we own that part, but there's not the ease of communication and like the calendars, the being able to do the conference appointments completely through here, the text messaging. Right now, those are all things that essentially takes up a full-time resource and a half, and it's not done effectively. And so for a small school that has 6 staff members, or 6 full-time and 2 part-time, that's an enormous cost. So I'm trying to, there's things that aren't getting done because our staff are, trying to make sure they're looking at the correct email list, and we have to do text messaging by hand, or we're managing multiple systems, and that was the appeal for Hubbli.
Yeah, well, I mean, you basically just, I couldn't say it better myself. Like the reason why we built Hubbli was for those reasons specifically, and that's why we really built first the communication structure. So, like one thing I didn't show you in this demo yet was like, this is like the message that I got. Let's say I'm a parent, and when I posted that notice about the lice in the class, this is the message I got right to my email. And if I wanted to ask a follow-up question and reply to that teacher, I could just reply, and it goes back to her, and then it's all nicely organized and archived inside Hubbli. But these two people, this teacher and this parent can just be communicating from their email back and forth, but it's all still inside Hubbli, organized and archived in there. And it's all tracked, so you know who read it, who clicked on it, who replied to it, or who didn't read it, which can be specifically very helpful, right? When you want to know who didn't get this information, right? And that's helpful. I'm interested to hear from everybody, like as a teacher or as a staff, like how much time, how many times do you have to, how much time do you have to spend just making sure that parents are informed about any particular thing? Like how many repetitive attempts do you have to make to inform parents of things? Sometimes, wouldn't it be easier to just see like who didn't get the message, so you know who to talk to or who to follow up with, or like you'll start to see, who is consistently not getting it, and then you can address that problem or figure out a different way to approach that parent, But it's all about knowing, if you don't know, then you're just, the thing that we hear from teachers all the time, or admin staff, like we're just resending the information over and over again. We're sending it out 5 different times in 5 different places. Parents are still uninformed because we just don't know, and essentially what all of that repetitive work, it sucks for you because it's really a waste of your time, when you could be face to face with kids, or getting your job done faster, right? But for the parents, you have a communication system that trains the parents to ignore you, because it really sucks for the parents too to keep on getting repetitive messages. Like the ones that are getting it, they're getting punished, because somebody else didn't get the message or didn't, you know what I mean? Like people, like you are pushing away the good, like the informed and engaged parents to focus, to deal with your lowest common denominator as far as communication goes, right? And engagement. So like if your system can't and that is just like an epidemic across the entire sector. That's what we hear from like every school we talk to, And so, your jobs, your lives are much easier if your parents are informed. But you have to create a system that gives them the communication that they want, and makes it so that they get it one time, and they only need to get it one time, and you only need to send it one time, and your life is easier, their life is better, and that is just the same system fixes issues on both sides as long as it's set up correctly, and that's where we focused. That's where we started from, and then we keep on building on the more sort of like lesson planning and the things that you see here that we're showing you. We keep on improving that. Like I said, we're coming out with an actual like lesson planning timetable, and like there's a whole bunch of like enrollment side things that are rolling out very soon. It's already good. It'll already save you a lot of time if you're using multiple systems in paper. But it's just going to keep getting better, and we just keep on making it better and better.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. This was really helpful, and I will definitely be in touch with you.
Excellent.
Definitely early next week. So.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to learn more about Hubbli, and I'll let Pat follow up with you. All the best, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.